ranking the best Spider-Man animated TV shows. Oh, I can give you a ranking. I can give you a ranking. I just know I know was number one. I know was number one. Boy, I know was number one for sure. And bitch, it better be Spectacular Spider-Man.
Shows have always played a crucial role in shaping his legacy.
Number two, that's the what's this Spider-Man animated show called? Like it was somewhere in 1987. I think it was somewhere around that time. Somewhere that old one. I'm sorry, Spectacular Spider-Man come first. It's top number one. I'm sorry, but the old one that's second. Third, that's a new one that came out last year. Or damn, that's kind of hard to do. Nah, I like the new one. I like the new one. And fourth, that's Spider-Man Unlimited. That's top four right there. Top four. Everything else fall in place. Fuck it. I don't give a fuck where everything else fall in.
The iconic web slinger to new generations. These series have at their best been the best adaptations of the characters, highlighting his struggles, wit, and humanity in ways the comics and films can't always match. From his early days in animation to more recent takes, these shows have not only expanded Spider-Man's world, but have also deepened our connection to him. Whether hitting or missing, they've all contributed to the evolution of one of the most enduring superheroes of all time. And with Spider-Man Freshman Year coming out in less than 2 weeks, it's clear that the web slinger's animated journey is far from over, offering us yet another chance to reimagine Peter Parker for a whole new audience. So let's get into ranking all the Spider-Man shows, from the worst to the best. Let's get started. We start off with, of course, Marvel Spider-Man 2017, and I have to say, my opinions on the show haven't changed that much. Now, I'm not trying to hate on it, but this show is really hard to enjoy. Not just as a Spider-Man show, but as a
I ain't gonna lie, I ain't never watched that.
First off, the biggest issue for me is Spider-Man himself, Peter Parker, doesn't even feel like Spider-Man in this show. He feels like everyone else. This was a huge problem for me. Peter Parker is portrayed as a super smart scientist, and like the rest of the characters in this show, they're all scientists. And by episode 10, Miles Morales is already Spider-Man. Soon after that, we get Spider-Gwen and then Spider-Woman. So by the middle of the season, Spider-Man isn't even the main character in his own show. I hated this. 4 Spider people at once? Miles was already a stretch, but I've grown to appreciate the Peter and Miles dynamic, especially thanks to the Spider-Verse movies and the recent video games. But throwing in 2 more Spider-Women just felt unnecessary, and it completely undermined the idea of Spider-Man being a solo hero. Watching them form a Spider team just made the show feel even more bloated and less focused, and was one of the major reasons I disliked this series. Another reason the show failed for me is, of course, the art style. Now, when the concept art was released, I was really excited. Vibrant colors, dynamic poses, amazing villain designs, and Patrick Brown's art looked incredible. But when the show actually came out, it felt like a huge letdown. The final animation looked flat, characters seemed oddly designed, and the villain designs like Rhino and Doc Ock, and even Spider-Man himself, were just disappointing. It's hard to appreciate the art when it's so visually underwhelming, and there's no shading, no depth, it just feels cheap. Another issue is how the show handles Spider-Man's actual role. For a show that's supposed to be about Spider-Man, he barely swings around New York. Instead, he spends most of his time in Horizon High, a futuristic school for gifted students. And it's not just any school. These kids are supposedly smarter than Tony Stark, which is a pretty ridiculous concept. Almost every villain comes from Horizon or from Norman Osborn's school down the street. Electro's a student, Rhino's a student, Doc Ock and Vulture are both teachers, and it's like they ran out of ideas for unique villains. We barely see any classic Spider-Man rogues who aren't somehow tied to either of these schools. Now listen, as much as I hate this show, I do.
Hey, how long you gonna be talking about these damn shows?
Getting better with time, and I did like some of the arcs that were added in the later seasons, like the Symbiote Saga as well as the Superior Spider-Man arc. It was great in the Symbiote arc because it wasn't the best adaptation of the arc that we were getting, but they were still trying with it, and I can respect that. But the Superior Spider-Man arc was great, as this was the first show to adapt it, and they did a nice job. Miles can tell right away it isn't Peter, so the whole time he's trying to help him, and it really helps the arc shine as we see the whole Avengers getting involved because Spider-Man isn't acting like himself. It's also a nice arc for Otto to have at the end of the season where he realizes he's not Spider-Man, and it's a really strong ending to the season as a whole. Now, this show was cancelled during season 3, which means it must have not been doing that well. I could barely watch this show for more than 10 minutes without doing something else like writing the script talking about how bad it really is. In conclusion, Marvel Spider-Man 2017 was a show where they tried their best making a Spider-Man show, and in the end, it's just a disappointing show that on paper should have succeeded, but in the end, the show failed to meet all expectations, and what we get is what we have now, which is the worst Spider-Man show on the list.
The fuck
Next
is
on
it?
the list, we we have Spider-Man Unlimited. Now, Spider-Man Unlimited is a show that deserves respect for the effort put into it, especially given the challenging circumstances it was created under.
How many Spider-Mans you got? What about them? Oh, hold on. Okay, so we got Spider-Man Unlimited right here, right? Which one? Which one this one is? Which one is this one? That look like the old. That's 1967. No, not that one. Spider-Man's a Friends Building. Spider-Man Unlimited? What the fuck? Ultimate Spider-Man is better than Spider-Man Unlimited. Yeah, get the fuck out of here. Who the fuck is this? Who the fuck is this? I'm sorry, bro. Like, Spider-Man Unlimited, it wasn't your ordinary Spider-Man show. But for what it was, I liked it. I'm not even gonna lie. For what it was, I like it. I'm not even gonna lie. I'm the type of nigga that see good in, good in things. You know what I'm saying? Like if something gonna be different, at least make it good. You know what I'm saying? Some things are different and they don't be good, and that's just the honest truth. But this right here, it was good for what it was. Ultimate Spider-Man, nigga. At least he got number 1 and 2 right. Sorry to spoil myself for the other rankings, but he had me fucked up right here.
It's important to address the restrictions placed on the show. First off, it wasn't connected to the 90s Spider-Man show, it's not Spider-Man 2099, and they couldn't use majority of Spider-Man's major supporting cast or villains. Now, with that in mind, the series follows Spider-Man as he travels to a parallel world, Counter-Earth, where evolved beasts dominate and humans are enslaved by the High Evolutionary. Yes, this villain was also in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, though that version is far more compelling than the portrayal we get here. Now, the show kicks off with Spider-Man fighting Venom and try to hijack a spaceship to travel to Counter-Earth. Now, we never get an explanation of why they're doing this, but that's the show, I guess. The spaceship is piloted by John Jameson, who's on a mission to go to Counter-Earth to meet with the people there. Spider-Man stops Venom and Carnage before heading back to Earth. Now, the visuals carry the show heavy. The animation is amazing, and I'm definitely a fan of the new Spider-Man Unlimited suit that we get here, and I think it's one of the best suits of all time for Spider-Man. Anyway.
Okay, look, you know what? I can give him some grace for that. Because this is very underrated. Don't nobody talk about this suit enough. I'm not even gonna lie to you. Don't nobody talk about this suit enough. I fucks with this suit. Heavy. I think it's underrated. Y'all let me know if I'm tripping. But I don't see a lot of people talk about this suit right here.
Peter returns home and considers giving up being Spider-Man because of everything he's been through and the lack of appreciation for his effort. That is until John Jameson sends a distress signal from Counter-Earth, warning that the planet is dangerous and that he's been captured. Being the hero he is, Spider-Man decides to act. He ends up stealing a suit from the Fantastic Four, hijacks a spaceship, and flies off to help John escape Counter-Earth. Now, Counter-Earth itself feels like a mix of the Thundercats with some Spider-Man villain hybrids. It's kind of weird. Vulture is an actual vulture, Electro is an electric eel, and Green Goblin is an anti-hero for some reason, so that's pretty weird. Then there's Kraven, who's a human but still wants to kill Spider-Man and is not part of the human resistance, which is also really weird. This show is weird. I think I've covered that. Anyway, once Spider-Man arrives to the Counter-Earth, he meets up with John Jameson and joins the human resistance, made up of the remaining humans on the planet. Together they work to escape the dystopian world. Spider-Man Unlimited was then cancelled in its first season and left fans on a cliffhanger, and it lands here as the second worst Spider-Man show on the list. Now there's several reasons for this. Despite its unique premise and impressive visuals, the show suffers from a lack of cohesion and identity. The restrictions placed on it, no main supporting cast, no iconic villains, and a forced disconnection from the 90s series left it feeling detached from what fans loved about Spider-Man. The story is riddled with odd creative choices like Counter-Earth hybrids and Green Goblin as an anti-hero, which come across as more confusing than they're supposed to be, and the writing fails to fully explore its ambitious ideas, leaving many plot points underdeveloped or nonsensical. And while this show had potential in some standout moments, it ultimately feels like a strange, uneven detour in Spider-Man's animated history, and it doesn't quite stick the landing like other shows on this list. So that's why it's here at the second worst show on this list. But next up we have Spider-Man 1967.
He may have like a reasonable
before the multiverse, before the movies, ranking, and before the insane amount of Spider-Man spin-offs we have today. Right, this was the original animated Spider-Man show, and honestly, you have to respect it for that alone. Now let's not act like it's some high-budget masterpiece. The animation was really rough in this show. They reused shots all the time, the character models went off consistently, and Spider-Man swinging scenes were basically the same repeated 3-second clip hopped over and over and over. But you know what? The jankiness is part of Spider-Man's 1967's charm. It's so retro and weird that it somehow loops back around to being cool. It has that it's so bad it's good energy, but you can also tell there was real effort and love put into it. Now, then there's the theme song. Everybody knows this theme song. It's been remixed, referenced, and reused in movies, games, and newer shows, and it defines the sound of Spider-Man for generations. As for the actual episodes, I watched a couple of them before these videos, and the stories are really basic. A villain shows up, causes chaos, Spider-Man stops them, rinse and repeat. But a show from the 60s, that's kind of expected.
Just an old
and
show.
Sometimes the villains weren't even from the comics. They just made up some random bad guys with weird powers or science experiments gone wrong. But every now and then we got classic enemies like Electro, Green Goblin, and Mysterio. And even if they were super simplified, it was still dope to see them animated for the first time ever. One thing I really appreciate is that even back then, they still captured Peter Parker's core struggles. He's broke, he's stressed, and he's trying to live a normal life while saving the city. And this balance of the superhero and regular guy, it's here. It's rough around the edges, but the foundation is solid. So yeah, Spider-Man 1967 is definitely dated. The voice acting is kind of stiff, the pacing is weird, and half the time it feels like they made episodes up on the spot. But honestly, it's part of history. It's the reason we have shows like Spectacular Spider-Man, Spider-Man Friendly Neighborhood, and even Spider-Man the Animated Series. This show walked, tripped, and sometimes fell flat on its face so the other shows on this list could run. Going from another really old show to another old show, of course I'm talking about Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends, a show that I really enjoyed rewatching. I mean, this show is old and like super weird at times, but at the heart of it all, I would say it's pretty enjoyable. You follow Spider-Man, but this time he's joined by his amazing friends, Iceman and Firestar. And Firestar was literally made for this show. This show is also heavily connected to the main Marvel universe, and there's a lot of Marvel characters that show up in this show, and that kind of makes the universe feel more lived in. Okay, let's actually talk about the show. Now, let's start with the animation. The animation is really stiff. Characters move like they're trying not to pull a muscle, and the action scenes are not exactly fluid. You'll catch the same punches and swing cycles getting reused a lot, and the voice acting, while charming, definitely
Again,
has
it's
that
an old show, so yeah, that's kind of expected.
Still though, there's something wholesome about this show. The show balances lighthearted fun with the occasional attempt at a deeper storytelling. And it doesn't really succeed with that, but it's still a good attempt. There's scenes where Firestar wrestles with her past as a mutant, or when they confront villains like Magneto, Doctor Doom, or even the Green Goblin. It's not super intense or groundbreaking, but it has heart, and you could tell the creators cared about making it. So yeah, Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends isn't perfect. It's old, cheesy, and the animation's a bit stiff, but for its time it was pretty decent, and it's definitely a decent show on this list. But next up we have Ultimate Spider-Man. Ultimate Spider-Man is a show that holds a special place in my heart. After the abrupt end of Spectacular Spider-Man, a series that I absolutely loved and you're going to see later on this list, Ultimate Spider-Man came in and became the Spider-Man that I grew up with. It felt like a fresh take, a modernized animated version of an MCU-style Spidey thrown into an MCU-adjacent universe to compare with those movies that were coming out at that time. The show had a fun, energetic tone packed with cool cameos from across the Marvel universe. Seeing characters like Deadpool show up, it was exciting as a kid, and it made the world feel big and alive. That said, I never really fully clicked with this team dynamic.
He must be the same age as me, some say as a kid.
Teens like White Tiger and Power Man felt a little forced at times, and it took away from the classic friendly neighborhood vibe that defines Peter Parker. He's Spider-Man. He works alone, and that's what makes a lot of these shows on this list work, and that's why Ultimate Spider-Man didn't work for me. The show also leaned heavily into a cartoony, kiddish style, breaking the fourth wall, exaggerated facial animation, slapstick humor, and that stupid-ass monkey sound, bro. Oh my god, that shit was playing every episode like 10 times, bro. That shit was so fucking annoying. Sorry. Now, this made it fun, but often made it feel less like a superhero story and more like a Marvel-flavored Saturday morning cartoon. Still, despite those drawbacks, Ultimate Spider-Man managed to carve out its own identity. It wasn't trying to be spectacular, it was trying to be its own thing, and it definitely had some good arcs in it, like the Conscience of Champions arc, and the ending arc with the Sinister Six and the Doc Ock one. It was doing its own thing, and for a whole generation of fans, including me, it succeeded. I think Ultimate Spider-Man gets harshly criticized because it was way too kiddish for us, but I think it's a decent show, and on paper, it's the fourth best show here. Next on the list is Spider-Man Friendly Neighborhood. Finally, after 3 years, we have a new Spider-Man animated show, and this show is good, like really good. I wasn't sold when it was first announced.
This show
is
hella
good.
good.
The animation and the premise didn't really have me hooked, but after watching the first season,
the animation, oh no, I ain't gonna lie, I kind of fuck with like the new animation, like, you know what I'm saying? Like I said, like I see the beauty in everything, bro, and the fact, I ain't gonna say it's because it's different, but you know what I'm saying? Like I said, when people do different things and they good, you know what I'm saying? They make it good for what it is. Like I like it. I can't be mad at it because like you do something different, but then you make it your own. You know what I'm saying? That's the beauty of it, bro. I kind of fuck with the animation. It was you know what I'm saying? It was kind of like a little unexpected for me when, you know what I'm saying, like when it was advertising and stuff like that, but I didn't mind it though. I didn't mind it though. And then I kind of, it was the voice actors for me, I don't know, it was kind of like, but then again, like I kind of grew to like it on him. Cause it grew onto his character, like in the way he was, bro. So I really couldn't be mad at it. And then it fits when he switched to the Spider-Man suit, and then he started acting like he started trying to make funny and jokes and stuff like that when he in the suit. And then when you know what I'm saying, when he back to his normal life, he back Peter Parker, and I liked it. I ain't gonna lie, I kind of fuck with that in it. And the jokes he make actually fits the way he talk, and you know what I'm saying. Like I said, like when people do something different and make it good, bro, it actually, you know what I'm saying, I like it. I end up liking it, and it, you know what I'm saying, and it grows on to me because like they don't try to go off the wall with what they doing and stuff like that. Like they know what they doing, you know what I'm saying. What they do is the reason why they doing it. If that made sense, but y'all see what I'm saying, right? Though
all in. This might be one of the best starts to a Spider-Man show we've had in a long time. What makes Spider-Man Friendly Neighborhood stand out is how it forges its own identity. It's clearly inspired by the MCU. We get the Civil War
just
references,
like
the Avengers Tower, and an overall shared universe feel. But it's not just retreading old ground. This isn't Ultimate Spider-Man, and it's definitely not Marvel Spider-Man from 2017. This show feels fresh, and there's something good about that. The biggest strength here is obviously Peter Parker. He's a younger Spidey, only a few months into being a hero, and that story leads into that. He's still figuring it out. He's not overpowered and he struggles, and that's what makes it work. His origin here is unique too. He gets bitten during a fight between Doctor Strange and some weird Venom creature, which we later revisit in the finale, and it actually pays off really well. Now, the 3D animation, while I had my doubts and I still think it's not the greatest, it does look decent in some scenes, and the fight scenes are very fluid, intense, and some of the best we've ever seen in a Spider-Man show. And there's even some invincible level energy.
I fuck with the animation. I ain't gonna lie, and I actually like the way they made Doctor Strange look on his show. I actually fuck with the Doctor Strange on the show. It actually, I ain't gonna lie, I think it looks good.
Made for the show villains, which reminds me of the Untold Tales of Spider-Man. Then we see for some familiar faces, obviously like Tombstone, and then like I mentioned before, Scorpion. This show's not perfect. Norman Osborn discovering Peter's identity in episode 2 feels way too rushed. The guy in the chair dynamic between Peter and Norman is interesting, but I think it needed more build-up. And there's also moments that feel like they're moving a little fast, skipping emotional beats that could have hit hard.
But they only had like a couple episodes to make, so you know what I'm saying. You kind of got to give him some grace for that. And then the fact that, you know what I'm saying, that he did figure out his suit. No, you know, like, you know, you gotta look at the little shits. I think it's because they were trying to give him a reason to be the Foundation Spider. Yeah, I see the suit he had, like the little white suit. You know what I'm saying? I think, you know, I think that's the name of the suit. You know what I'm saying? Correct me if I'm wrong now. But, you know what I'm saying? I think that was the reason why they end up letting, you know what I'm saying, Norman Osborn find out who he was, so he can end up wearing the Foundation Spider suit for a good little minute until he, you know what I'm saying, bring out his true color was, you know what I'm saying, the iconic red and blue with the webs and the spider sign. You feel me? I fuck with it. Again, like I said, I fuck with it. When something different, they make it good. I can't be mad at it.
Harder. But overall, Spider-Man Friendly Neighborhood is off to an amazing start, and the end credit scene has just got me more excited for season 2. It's bold, fun, emotional, and most importantly, it feels like something new, and it respects Spider-Man's legacy without being chained to it. If this show keeps this energy going, we might be witnessing the rise of a new fan favorite Spider-Man show. But next on the list we have, coming in as the second best Spider-Man show ever, in my opinion, is Spider-Man the Animated Series. Now, this show from 1994 is an absolute classic. And honestly,
that was 1994. Oh shit. Oh, Jesus shit. I was way off.
It was the birthplace of the Spider-Man animation.
I was way off.
For so many of us. This show was able to define Spider-Man for a generation. That iconic intro with the electric guitar, robotic vocals, instant nostalgia. The animation style was dark, gritty, and serious, and it treated Spider-Man with the weight and respect he deserved, without ever feeling too mature for kids. And it found the perfect balance with that. What really makes this show special are the story arcs. They didn't just throw in random villains for single episode fights. They built entire seasons around character development and consequences. The symbiote saga is legendaries is the first time we see the symbiote actually affect Peter's mental ability. Watching Peter slowly lose himself in the black suit, battle his inner demons, and then finally face off against Venom. That was peak Spider-Man storytelling. And let's not forget about the Clone Saga and also the first ever introduction of the Spider-Verse. And I think they did that pretty well. Another big strength here is Peter Parker himself. This version of Peter felt mature, conflicted, and driven. He wasn't just quipping around through fights. He was carrying guilt, making tough choices, and constantly learning. His relationships with characters like Mary Jane and even villains like Morbius were complex and engaging. The impact of the show is massive. For many of us, it was our first introduction to characters like Blade, Punisher, Daredevil, and even the X-Men for some people. Spider-Man the Animated Series fans will tell you that this show held its own. It made Spider-Man a household name and paved the way for its movies, games, and future shows. That's why I have it here at the second best show on the list. But for the first best show, I have Spectacular Spider-Man. No debate. This show is the gold standard for how to adapt Peter.
None. No debate, nigga. Argue with your fucking mama. For real, boy. If Spectacular Spider-Man now on top of y'all list of Spider-Man TV shows, bro, you're smoking, you're drinking, you're doing some type of drug that got you fucked up. Because why the fuck are you fucked up? You feel me? Like, this executed motherfucking character development, storytelling, boy, fucking animation. I don't give a fuck, nigga. Fighting scenes even peak. Like, you just like it don't get no better than this right here. And that's gonna forever be my number one, nigga. I want Kobe at my 2, nigga. What? Wait, said now I want Kobe at my 2. It's gonna be my number one forever. I want Kobe in my 2, nigga.
In his world to the screen. Everything about it, from the writing to the character development to the pacing, was near perfect. First off, let's talk about how it handled Peter Parker. He's a teenager here, trying to balance school, friends, family, and being a superhero. And you feel that struggle in almost every episode. There's so many episodes where he has to call Aunt May when he's running late, and that usually means he's in a battle with like Electro or the Lizard or something. And that, at the end of the day, that's Spider-Man. That's what we want to see adapted to the screen. The villain arcs were also massively done. It wasn't just a villain of the week. Every character had real depth. The transformation of Eddie Brock into Venom was amazing. Eddie was introduced in season 1 as Peter's friend, and then all the way in season 2, he became Venom. Otto Octavius got turned into Doc Ock later in season 1, and Green Goblin, the huge twist was that it was Harry, and then the season finale revealed that it was actually Norman the whole time, which is what Peter suspected. That's what we need from Spider-Man shows. It to be more like the comics, twists and turns at every corner. And that's what makes the Spectacular Spider-Man one of the best shows of all time. Now, let's talk about the animation style. It was simple but expressive. It let the action scenes shine. Every fight had a great choreography, fluid motion, creative web-slinging moments, and it felt alive. The show also had a strong supporting cast.
And then look, he's taking pictures and shit.
Harry, all given their own development. And the show didn't treat them like background characters. Everyone had a role to play in Peter's growth, both as a hero and as a person. But what's hurts the most about the show is the fact that it ended too soon. 2 seasons. Yeah, that's it. And yet, in just 26 episodes, it told a more complete and emotional and iconic Spider-Man story than most shows ever get close to. It respected the character and his world, and it made us care as fans. Now, to wrap it all up, each show has brought something different to the table. And as a Spider-Man fan, it's just amazing to see how far we've come. Here's hoping Spider-Man Friendly Neighborhood lives up to the legacy of the greats, and maybe, just maybe, swing this way to the top to become the greatest Spider-Man show of all time. But that's it for now. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Peace.
Spectacular Spider-Man gonna forever be number one for me. I don't care what nobody fucking say.